So let's go to universal basic income. Here's what I don't get about it. And I haven't done any reading or research whatsoever. I have a knee-jerk reaction about like, you're going to give people money, even people that are sitting around playing video games all day and just smoking weed and not contributing to society. Why should they get thousands of dollars a month? That's where I go.
There are a number of reasons why we think it'd be a good idea. I'll just argue from my own perspective. So right now, a lot of those people are potentially receiving money from like a poorly designed bureaucracy.
Like Social Security, disability.
Yeah. Let's use disability as one example. And I was in Iowa, and a woman came up to me and told me the story of how she's on disability and she wants to volunteer at her local nonprofit, but she's afraid to do so because she's afraid someone's going to report her as not being disabled and then she's going to lose her disability. And I thought, well, that's the darkest version of reality, isn't it? Because now you're, you're disabled, you're at home, and then you're afraid to go and do something positive in your community because you have these benefits that are attached to this program. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be better? I think most people would agree. It's like, how about we give you the benefits and you go volunteer and, maybe you even feel better and you're like perfectly actually able and like, you still get the benefits. Like right now we have this negative set of incentives attached to a lot of these programs where there's paternalism attached to them, where you're kind of demonstrating that, you need the money. And then if you get the money, then you're, afraid of losing it by running afoul of bureaucracy or some other thing. So if you can eliminate the bureaucratic layer and say, look, you are a stakeholder, let's call it a citizen of this country, and here is your part of the pie. The other thing is that when you put money into people's hands, they're more apt to become part of the community, part of the local marketplace, and in our view, more likely to actually do more, not less. That the reason why people are at home.
So it's not a demotivator, it's actually a motivator?
Yeah, it's like if people, by the way, there are studies to show this too, that if you grow up in an environment where things work, then you become more likely to be conscientious, agreeable, and like think, okay, things will work. So if I do something, like I'll have a chance. If you're in an environment where things don't work, then you think, oh, like no one cares about me. I mean, one of the things I said I wanted to do as president is I wanted to look at every American in the eye and say, your country loves you, your country values you, and we're going to prove it. And here you go. Here's your stake. Because as someone who's run organizations, people can tell if you're lying. If you say, hey, you're important, and we're going to demonstrate your complete lack of importance, like every single way. This would be a way to attribute genuine value to people.
Couldn't you do that with like free community college? Instead of universal basic income, aren't there certain other ways to spend that money that could be even more motivating? For instance, education. What if all community college was free? And in fact, what if all state college was free? Now, you'd have to get good grades and you'd have to advance and pass in order to move forward. But that getting of education had zero obstacles for it.
I'm not against free community college or other measures like that. One of the issues is that about 35% of Americans go to four-year universities, and if you expand to community colleges, it's about 49%. So then you have half the population that is not going to necessarily see that benefit. And so, but I'm not against different.
But doesn't tuition provide a barrier for a lot of the people that would want to go?
It does in many cases, and I'm for lowering those barriers. But it's by the way, it's one of the reasons why the Democrats' current messaging around like, hey, let's forgive college debt, it pisses off a lot of Americans because, like maybe almost 2/3 of Americans are like, I didn't go to college, so like, what's going on over there? I mean, if
you're just benefiting elitists.
Yes. Yeah. If you're going to choose a category of debt to forgive that everyone could have gone behind, it would have been medical debt.
Yeah, healthcare debt.
Because that stuff affects everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not against all sorts of measures that give people a leg up. One thing I'm very, very passionate about is that we should be investing in technical apprenticeships and vocational
Trade schools.
trade schools.
Free trade school would go hand in hand with free community college.
Yeah. So, Rainn, what's interesting is that the problems in the employment market are actually diverging along gender lines quite often, where only 40% of college students are now men. So there are different approaches you would take. And I'm for taking multiple shots at it.
But ultimately, this is where you have spent so much of your time and your energy is figuring out how the hell do we reduce poverty? Because if we reduce poverty, this will benefit everyone. It'll benefit markets. It'll benefit entrepreneurs. It'll benefit the healthcare system, the political system, the eradication of poverty. That's a very Star Trek way of looking at moving forward. Hey, did you like that video? Why don't you click on this one? Or maybe watch this one? Or click over here.